Hey guys, I have got another run drill for you this week, and this week we're looking at your posture and your arm drive. You are going to need, ideally, a TheraBand, so a big boingy band, attached to something stable, so a doorknob or a bedpost or something stable. That's the ideal. If you haven't, then a thigh band will do. If you haven't got a TheraBand, a dressing gown if you've got something to attach it to. Okay. We're going to start off with a posture focus. So I want you to stand up straight and we're going to go into some pelvic tilts. So with your pelvic tilts, and you do want to have done a hip warm up before this, so do just your normal kneeling hip warm up to loosen up your hips. But then we're going to go, which you'd always do before you run anyway, wouldn't you, right? So then we're going to go into your pelvic tilt. So drawing up at the front, tip the water out the back. Draw up at the front, tip the water out the back. Go back, tip the water out the front. So we're just tipping that pelvis, tip the water out the back, tip the water out the front. Try and make sure we're not doing it all with our thighs. It's not about our thighs clenching and moving. The movement is just here in the pelvis. So we zip up at the front, tuck the tailbone under, glutes engage, relax. Zip up at the front, glutes engage. As you do it, try and think of some visual cues to help yourself think about doing it, particularly when you're running and things are feeling hard. So that zipping up the front is really effective. Make sure it's a zip up, that it's not a shoulders down towards your core, but it's zipping up towards your shoulders. And then think about your glutes. You can do the tucking the tailbone under, tipping the water out the back. That's the simplest, but if we're running, we want a bit more powerful than that, and we're going to spill the water all over the place when we're running anyway. So I like to think tuck under, rocket booster glutes, driving me forward. You can give them a squeeze just to remind them. You don't want to be squeezing them when you're running. You'll obviously get too tired, but you can give them a quick squeeze to remind them what they feel like. Or I think about, imagine I've got a climbing harness around my hips and it's attached at the front to a kite, either a kite or a bird, soaring up ahead, and that's tucking me under and pulling me up and forwards. So that powerful drive forwards. So think of something visual to get that pelvic tilt going for you. Okay, from there, we're going to take that band, and if you haven't got a band set up like that, then you're going to put the band around your feet. Sorry, I've dropped out of focus, but you've got the band around your feet, and then you're drawing your elbows in towards you. Hope you can imagine that, rather than me tilting the camera again. If you are doing it with the TheraBand on whatever's nice and stable, please don't let anything fall over on top of you, then we're drawing the elbows in. So whether you've got the band looped over your feet or whether you're doing it, it's exactly the same action. We're thinking about your posture, we're not slumped, we're thinking about your posture, we're drawing those elbows in, we're holding for a few seconds, feeling the muscles around the upper back working, around the shoulder blades, around the upper back to pull in and stabilize. This isn't a strength exercise, it's not going to be really hard, but it's about waking up our body to understand what those muscles feel like when they engage. Two more. Shoulder blades come together and down. Then from there, I want you to find a wall, and we're going to stand up against a wall. We're going to make sure that our heels are almost touching to the wall, not quite. We're going to get the weight even toe to heel. Then we're going to go into that neutral pelvis. Then we're going to go, imagine we're doing that row. So we're opening out the chest, we're taking the shoulders back from that traditional position we're in with the shoulders round and forward. We're opening the shoulders back up against the wall, and then probably your head's forward here. So we're pushing the back of the head into the wall. We're not tilting it backwards. We're not sticking our nose in the air. We're imagining a helium balloon attached to the back of the head, lengthening us up. So we're thinking about all of that posture, arms just hanging down. Then we're going to relax. You don't need to be on a step. I've just got a step in the way there. Relax. And then find that posture again. Okay, from there, thinking, walking all the way through from the feet. So equal weight toe to heels, neutral pelvis, hips above your ankles with that neutral pelvis, ribs above the hips, so not tipping the water out the front or the back. Float those ribs above the hips, shoulders above the hips that are above the ribs, and then earlobes above the shoulders. Can't see how I'm doing. I feel like you might feel like you're bending over like that, but that's just because we spend so much time like that. So check that your position's right. Check that pelvis position as your sort of anchor. That's our position we want to be coming back to. So when we're running, That's where we want to be. I don't particularly teach the lean forward from the heels, because I find when most people do that, they bend at the waist. Yes, it's what we want to do, but most of us haven't got good enough bodily awareness to do it. I'm far more interested in making sure that we're keeping that engagement all the way through, because as soon as we start tipping forwards, it's not good for our posture, but as soon as we start tipping forwards, we have to end up putting our feet out in front of us to stabilize, otherwise we fall forwards and then we end up overstriding. We want length at the back of the stride, not the front of the stride. So we want to keep that posture all the way through. So if you want to do the lean from the heels, fine. If that doesn't make any sense, if you've never heard it before, forget I ever said it. Just think about that upright posture. So as you're running, and think about as you get towards the end of a race, we're going to be getting down here, we're shuffling along here. Think about that helium balloon taking you up to the ceiling. Okay, now that's one thing. I'm going to go on to a second thing now. You could just stop it there, think about that for one day and come back to the second part. The second part, we're thinking about our arms. And this is where we want to come back to this band again. So we're going to think about driving one elbow back and then the other. And as we do that, because we've got the band attached, and if you haven't got a band attached, do it just without a band, just doing your arms. But what the band is helping us with is keeping that 90-degree bend at the elbow. Most of us have a tendency to run and straighten our arms back behind us as we go. Whereas in fact, we want to keep that 90-degree bend at the elbow. So elbows drive back. Imagine you're in a crowded bar and everybody's crowding in behind you, just giving them a nudge, giving them that jab to get them out of the way. Then we're going to add in the legs, and we always get confused at this point, but if you think hand is forwards when knee is diagonally opposite, knee is forwards. So diagonally opposite, hand and knee match at the front. Once you've got that sorted, change the focus away from the front. Still thinking about the knee drive we've talked about in previous weeks. So rather than flinging the foot forwards, figure 4, heels underneath the body, knees out in front. But the main thing I want you to focus on is that elbow driving back behind you. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Imagine you've got a grapefruit above your shoulder to your ear, so you haven't got the shoulders hunching up, but you're driving those elbows back. Jab that person crowding in behind you. From there, if that's all feeling good, we can take it into running, and we're still thinking about the elbows driving back behind us, not the hand punching out in front, but the elbow driving back behind. Then drop the band and keep focused on those elbows. Have a quick relax. Go through it again. So pelvic tilt, water out the front, water out the back, out the back, out the front. Then zip up, stable, neutral pelvis, shoulder blades together. Looking straight ahead, helium balloon from the back of the head, lengthening up. And then into a march, so diagonals meet at the front. Without the band this time, but still thinking about that elbow. Making sure we don't go into that default of flicking the arm back. So we're not drumming, we're driving elbows back. And then into running, driving the elbows back. And relax. Now, if that feels hard, and you might need to check in the mirror to check if you're doing it right or not, it might feel easy, but you might not be doing that elbow drive. If that feels hard, focus on it, work on it. It sounds like a minor detail, like I'm just kind of worried about the aesthetics or something. But if you go for a run, first of all, try running and don't use your arms at all. And you'll feel how vulnerable you feel, how impossible it is, because you're trying to kind of match the power of your legs with your body. Then try running and just run with your arms straight, completely straight like that. And again, you'll feel how weird it feels, and you'll end up feeling that you just flick your feet out in front of you. So you're kind of doing like a speed walk. That is showing you the power of what's going on with your arms. When you're running, we want that knee drive forwards. But if we're doing the straight arms, I can't even do it, but if we're doing the straight arms, we end up flicking the legs forwards. We want to replicate the bent knee and the bent elbow. Okay? So think about working on this elbow drive when you're not running, and then take it into your run. As always with your run technique, don't try and think about what you're doing the whole time. Your brain will melt, you won't be able to stay focused. So just every 5 minutes or every kilometre, just do a quick walk through your body. You've got all these cues, and we're going to go through them again in a second. to walk through your body, and one of them is those elbows. Now, one more thing to add into the equation, back to our band. So we're going to go into the drive back, so diagonal, oh, the wrong way around, yes. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but we're driving back on one foot, and we're working on our balance. A little bit easier because we've got something to hold on to, but we're working on our balance, really important for our running. But we're also working on this anti-rotational force. So we've done lots of core work on anti-rotational muscles. As I pull back, it's trying to twist me around, but I'm using my core muscles to resist. It's only a small pull, but I'm having to engage those core muscles, going for about 10-second hold on each side to stop myself from turning with it. So helping you to realize the importance of those core muscles, because otherwise as we run, we end up rocking the baby. We end up doing this because we're trying to, if we haven't got the engagement through the core, we're trying to compensate with our arms. So again, we want to go into that backwards run, backwards with the elbows, don't run backwards. So into your march. And as you go, let's walk through the body. Starting at the top, eyes are looking forward, and I'm just going to put something under so I'm not stamping so loudly. Eyes are looking forwards, they're not looking down at the ground. If we need to check the ground, we can tilt the eyes down, but we don't turn the head down. So eyes looking forwards. Earlobes are above our shoulders, engaging between the shoulder blades coming together and down, so we've got that stability through the shoulders, opening up the chest, giving ourselves space to breathe. Elbows driving backwards, 90 degrees at the elbows. As we get tired, we can put that power in with the arms. When we think we can't keep going, focus on those arms. They can give you that drive to keep on going forwards. And then knee drive forwards. So rather than flicking the foot out, knee drive, and then you can drop your band. One thing more, hands. So we want a soft fist. I say imagine you've got a little hamster or a little baby chick in each hand. So you don't want loads of tension in the hand, but unless you're sprinting, I wouldn't go for the karate chops. I'd just be going elbow drive back, soft fist at the front. Okay, hope all that makes sense. Give it a go in static or here standing up, and then take it out on your run. Use those cues to walk through your run. Let me know how you get on.